When we talk about changing a life, too many imagine it as an event, as if one morning you will wake up and everything will be transformed by some mysterious force. But life does not bend to events, it bends to habits, and habits are children of repetition. What you repeatedly do, what you repeatedly say to yourself, what you repeatedly allow into your mind, those are the builders of destiny. If you wish to change your life, you must first change what you feed your mind every single day. The truth is simple yet profound. The human mind is the most fertile soil known to man. Whatever you plant in it, be it seeds of greatness or weeds of mediocrity, will grow and multiply. And the tragedy is that most people allow anything and everything to be planted there. They consume every message from television, every rumor from the street, every fear from social media, without recognizing that their thoughts are being colonized. And when the thoughts are colonized, the life cannot be free. To change your life, you must reclaim the authority over your mental diet. Just as you would not eat rotten food and expect good health, you cannot feed your mind with negativity, gossip, and fear, and expect to live a purposeful life. Your mind requires intentional feeding. This is why I say, what you watch every day matters, what you listen to every day matters, the voices you allow into your spirit, they matter. Because repeated exposure is the architect of belief, and belief is the architect of action. Actions repeated become habits, and habits crystallize into destiny. If you tell a man every day that he is weak, he will begin to act weak, and eventually he will live weak. If you tell a child every day that he is useless, he will begin to see himself as useless, and eventually he will fulfill that prophecy. This is the law of the mind. It does not resist repetition, it conforms to it. And if you are careless about what you repeat, life will care less about what you become. But when you understand this, when you awaken to this truth, then you begin to practice daily mental conditioning. You become intentional about the ideas you consume, about the conversations you entertain, about the books you read, about the voices you allow into your environment. Suddenly, you realize that your mind is a garden that must be weeded, watered, and cultivated every single day. The ancients understood this well. That is why the Stoics spoke about training the mind. That is why spiritual traditions emphasize daily meditation, daily prayer, daily reflection. They knew that the mind cannot stand empty. It must be filled. And if you do not fill it with discipline, the world will fill it with distraction. If you do not fill it with courage, fear will invade. If you do not fill it with purpose, confusion will reign. You see, the difference between a man who rises to greatness and a man who drowns in mediocrity is not always talent, not always opportunity, not even education. It is the difference in daily conditioning. One chooses to remind himself daily of who he is and who he can be. He speaks words of power to himself. He surrounds himself with environments of growth, and he exposes his mind to ideas that stretch him. The other drifts, leaving his mind open to every passing wind of doubt and distraction. When athletes prepare for the Olympics, they train every day. Not once a week, not once a month, but every day. They understand that the body responds to repetition. In the same way, the mind responds to daily exercise. If you want to master courage, you must practice thinking courageous thoughts every day. If you want to master discipline, you must expose yourself daily to disciplined environments. If you want to master greatness, you must rehearse greatness daily until it becomes second nature. But here is the danger. Repetition works both ways. Just as daily exposure to wisdom builds strength, Daily exposure to foolishness builds weakness. And many people are unknowingly rehearsing failure, rehearsing fear, rehearsing limitation. They rehearse it by watching the same discouraging messages, by listening to the same pessimistic voices, by repeating to themselves the same excuses. Then, when life tests them, they discover that they are powerless because their minds have been conditioned for defeat. This is why I say, what you do with your mind daily is the single most important determinant of your future. And the good news is this: it is within your control. No one can police your thoughts better than you. No one can choose for you what to watch, what to read, what to listen to. The gatekeeper of your mind is you, and if you abandon that responsibility, then you abandon your destiny. If the mind is the architect of destiny, then discipline is the builder. Many people understand what they want. Many even dream vividly of the life they desire. But they remain trapped in the same patterns because there is no bridge between intention and transformation. That bridge is discipline. Without it, dreams remain suspended in the realm of imagination, and potential becomes nothing more than wasted possibility. You see, desire alone has never transformed a man's life. History is littered with men and women who desired greatness but never achieved it, not because they lacked the dream, not because they lacked the ability, but because they lacked the daily discipline to bring that dream into reality. Discipline is the governor of action. It is the invisible force that translates thought into practice. It is the art of saying no to the urgent so that you can say yes to the important. It is the science of choosing consistency over convenience and persistence over pleasure. Too many wait for motivation. They imagine that change comes when you feel inspired, when you feel the surge of energy to act. But motivation is like the wind. It comes and goes, unpredictable, unreliable. Discipline is the anchor that holds the ship when the wind fails. It is the commitment to do what must be done, whether or not the heart feels like doing it. And therein lies the secret. Those who rely on motivation will always start but rarely finish, while those who embrace discipline finish even when they start reluctantly. Look at the world's greatest achievers in any field: science, politics, sports, the arts, and you will find that their success is rarely explained by talent alone. Talent may have given them an edge, but discipline gave them mastery. The painter who rises before dawn to perfect his strokes, the athlete who trains when others sleep, the scholar who reads when others are distracted. These are not individuals carried by emotion. They are individuals carried by discipline, and discipline, my friends, is not glamorous. It does not sparkle in the beginning. It often feels boring, repetitive, even painful. But it is in the very repetition of the small and ordinary that greatness is forged. A single act of discipline may look insignificant, but repeated daily, it creates momentum, and momentum births transformation. The disciplined man does not need to announce his habits. The results will speak for him. We must understand something deeper. Discipline is freedom in disguise. The undisciplined man imagines he is free because he does whatever he feels like doing. He eats what he wants, he spends how he wants, he works when he wants. But look closely and you will see that he is enslaved by impulse. His so-called freedom chains him to poor health, to poverty, to regret. The disciplined man, on the other hand, appears restricted, bound by routine and order. Yet look at his life over time, and you will see the fruit of his labor: strength, stability, achievement, respect. The world eventually crowns the disciplined with the very freedom that the undisciplined craved but never attained. The tragedy is that many know what they must do, but they do not do it. They delay, they procrastinate, they postpone their own destiny. They say, tomorrow I will start, tomorrow I will commit, tomorrow I will discipline myself. But tomorrow is a thief. Tomorrow robs men of their dreams. Tomorrow buries destinies before they are born. Discipline does not live in tomorrow. It lives in today, in this very moment, in the choice you make now. And discipline is not merely about the great things, it is about the small. The man who cannot govern his mornings will not govern his years. The woman who cannot discipline her tongue will not discipline her life. It is the little foxes, Scripture tells us, that spoil the vine. The daily, almost invisible choices, whether to rise early or remain in bed, whether to finish the task or abandon it midway, whether to tell the truth or to compromise, these are the battles where discipline is tested and where character is forged. But let us not deceive ourselves. Discipline is not easy. It demands sacrifice. It asks you to suffer the pain of consistency so that you avoid the greater pain of regret. It asks you to silence the tempting voice of comfort in order to awaken the commanding voice of purpose. It requires that you live today, not for today alone, but for the tomorrow you envision. And herein lies the paradox. Though discipline is difficult in the moment, it is always easier than the alternative. The pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. To build a disciplined life, one must establish systems. Do not rely solely on willpower. Build structures that make progress inevitable. Surround yourself with environments that reinforce discipline rather than sabotage it. Plan your time, guard your habits, and measure your progress. A disciplined life is not accidental, it is designed. And the man who designs his days with order will eventually design his destiny with power. So, when I say that discipline is the bridge between intention and transformation, I mean that it is the decisive factor that separates the dreamers from the doers, the aspirers from the achievers. The disciplined man is not necessarily the most talented, but he is the one who finishes the race. He is not necessarily the most intelligent, but he is the one who produces results. He is not necessarily the most inspired, but he is the one who endures until the crown is won. When we speak of changing life, we must not imagine the path as smooth, paved, and free of obstacles. Transformation is not a straight road. It is a winding path filled with hills and valleys, struggles and resistance. And here is the paradox. It is precisely these struggles, these challenges, these hardships that shape the greatness we long for. Without them, growth is impossible, for struggle is the price life demands before it hands over strength. Think of nature. The seed that is buried in the soil cannot become a tree unless it breaks through the earth. The butterfly cannot emerge in its splendor without fighting its way out of the cocoon. The gold cannot shine without passing through the fire. Struggle is not the enemy, it is the midwife of greatness, yet too many of us misinterpret it. We see obstacles and imagine that life is against us. We face resistance and think fate has cursed us. We endure hardship and conclude that we are being punished. But the wise know better. Life tests those it seeks to elevate. You see, adversity is the training ground of the soul. It sharpens the mind, it strengthens the spirit, it disciplines the will. No man ever became strong by lifting feathers. He became strong by lifting weight. And in the same way, no character is ever forged in comfort. It is forged in discomfort, in challenge, in struggle. The very thing you run from may be the very thing that was designed to prepare you. The danger is that many try to escape the process. They pray for an easy life, for a path without pain, for success without struggle. But such prayers are misdirected, for an easy life produces weak people, and weak people rarely achieve anything of substance. History remembers those who endured, not those who escaped. It celebrates the men and women who faced storms, not those who hid from them. The truth is, if you avoid struggle, you also avoid growth. Look at every figure who changed the course of history: leaders, inventors, liberators, visionaries. Without exception, their greatness was shaped in the furnace of struggle. They were opposed, misunderstood, resisted, sometimes even persecuted. Yet it was precisely in those trials that their resilience was born. Nelson Mandela's wisdom was sharpened in prison. Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy was refined under oppression. The prophets of old spoke with authority because they endured hardship. Even in the realm of faith, the cross preceded the crown. Greatness never arrives without struggle. But the problem with many of us is perspective. We see struggle as punishment instead of preparation. We see delay as denial instead of development. We see rejection as humiliation instead of redirection. And because our vision is clouded, we waste the very opportunities designed to strengthen us. If only we understood that every obstacle carries within it the seed of advancement, we would stop complaining and start cultivating. Struggle also serves another purpose. It reveals, it shows you who you truly are. In times of comfort, anyone can appear disciplined, focused, and faithful. But when pressure comes, when resources are scarce, when doors close, when friends abandon you, that is when your true character stands revealed. The storm does not create weakness, it exposes it. The fire does not create impurity, it uncovers it. Struggle is the great revealer, and once it shows you your true self, you have the chance to grow, to adjust, to rise. We must, therefore, learn to embrace the struggle, not with resignation, but with resolve. To embrace it does not mean to enjoy suffering, but to recognize its value, to draw from it the lessons it carries. Every challenge is a teacher, if only we sit in its classroom. Every disappointment is a lesson, if only we are willing to learn. Life is not cruel, it is consistent. It will keep sending us the same examination until we are ready to pass. And remember, struggle is temporary. No storm lasts forever. The night may be long, but the dawn comes. What seems unbearable today becomes the testimony of tomorrow. The very weight that bows your shoulders today will be the evidence of your strength tomorrow. Those who mock you in the valley will marvel at you on the mountaintop, but you must endure long enough to see the transformation. Too many give up halfway, abandoning the process before the fruit has ripened. They leave the gym before the muscles are built. They abandon the journey before the destination is reached. They quit, and in quitting they rob themselves of the reward. So let me remind you, the measure of a person is not how they behave when all is well, but how they respond when all is difficult. Anyone can smile in spring. It takes strength to smile in winter. Anyone can walk when the path is clear. It takes courage to keep walking in the dark. It is in the moments when you feel weakest that you must summon your greatest resolve. For life, my friends, does not break you with struggle. It remakes you. The disciplined mind that we spoke of earlier finds its testing ground in struggle. The conditioned mind that feeds on purpose finds its opportunity to prove itself in adversity. In this way, the three forces unite. Conditioning shapes your vision, discipline shapes your action, and struggle shapes your strength. Together, they conspire to transform your life.